Let's talk about passion. Passion is the effortless urge towards doing something you like, the feeling of being inspired towards action without any use of willpower. It's an activity done solely for the sake of doing it and with no need for reward. You can be passionate when being creative, when working, or even when having sex. If you do something passionately, it doesn't matter how difficult or tiring that activity is, because you will still do it with joy and happiness. The terrifying reality is that a lot of people believe they've lost their passion in life. Even though we as human beings have more freedom and opportunities than we've ever had historically, we're getting more and more unhappy. Freedom is becoming scary.
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
Anxiety is getting more common for each day passing, and especially for younger people. The constant impressions of the modern world makes us think that whatever you are is not enough in itself, that you could use improvement and that you need to be someone. So in a world where there's so much opportunity for passion, why are so many people finding it difficult to find and follow their passion? Alright, so let's take an example that is probably quite recognizable. So you're sitting in your room alone and you decide you want to start some project or do something with your life, but then you get hit by this wall of emptiness. Just like as if there's nothing in there, no inspiration, no motivation, and no passion. And soon enough, after hitting that wall, you seek some distraction and you end up not doing anything. So where is that passion? That thing that drives us towards our goals? You see, I noticed at some point when everything's got a little difficult or uncertain, my first instinct would just be to grab my phone and have that entertain me. And it occurred to me when I realized this, that when I was a kid, I used to be really good at entertaining myself. You know, I used to be really passionate. So where did our passion go? And how do we find it again? That's the question we keep asking. But I think that question is also the problem. You see, I think there's something inherently wrong with asking, how do I find my passion? Because we're asking as if passion is out there and we somehow need to locate it by searching elsewhere. So let's try instead to think of passion not as something that is out there that wants to come in, but the other way around. Passion is in here and wants to come out. Not an impression, but an expression. A natural, effortless expression of your true self. That is passion. Like giving into a passionate kiss. The question then goes from, well, finding passion to, I guess, allowing passion. We don't ask, how do I find my passion? But how do I allow my passion? I think this is easier said than done though, because when we try to decide what to do in life, it often goes a bit like this. Here's all the things I would probably enjoy doing in life, but I tend to only consider all the things that people wouldn't laugh of. And then it's also best if there's some kind of a way to earn money with whatever thing I want to spend my time on. And it's best if my parents approve of it, and my friends, and society. And pretty soon I ask myself not what I want to do in life, but instead the question becomes something like, what should I study? A ridiculous question for finding happiness. But if it's that ridiculous, why do so many people then repeat the same mistake? Why do people not just do what they want to do? I think the answer to that is that safety is more important than happiness. The mind would much rather keep things the way they are instead of trying something new in an attempt to be happy. Just think about that. The mind would rather keep you safe and unhappy than trying something new in an attempt to be happy that would most likely make you happy. And there's even a layer more to this, because the moment when you realize that all your opinions and choices in life is really just made from someone else's opinion, then naturally you try and let go of that. But soon enough you end up just clinging on to some new idea. And in your attempt to break free and have your own opinions and choices in life, you end up just taking on someone else's idea. You see, I used to smoke. But I've quit. In 2016, I had a New Year's resolution. I wanted 2016 to be the year I started smoking. Yeah, you heard me right. Started, not stopped. I hadn't smoked before, but I decided now's the time. I was a wild kid and I needed to break out of my shell. And the thing that would oppose my parents the most would be to start smoking. And so I went and bought some tobacco and learned how to roll my own cigarettes, trying to be my own independent individual, trying to be real passionate. And why am I telling you this?
Because I think it's the perfect example. I think when people talk about being themselves or finding their passion, usually what they mean is just that they try really hard to make other people think of them as unique. So for me, starting to smoke wasn't about being myself. It was about not being my parents. And so in my attempt to be really independent, I ended up being really dependent. So what can we really do to be ourselves?
You want to be yourself. Ain't nobody else. But what can you do that makes you really be you? Sing it, boy. Passion can't be discovered. Passion can be allowed. So stop trying to be someone else. Stop trying to live someone else's life. And even more important, stop trying to be yourself. Just stop trying.
But while that all sounds good, you probably also recognize the words, I don't know what I want to do.
I don't know what to do.
Seems familiar, no?
So here's Nico's 3 tips for knowing what to do. Tip number 1. Stop saying the words in life. Try instead with right now. What do I want to do right now in this moment? Tip number 2. What was meaningful back when you were a kid? Get inspired by that. Tip number 3. Notice one thing around you right now that you've never noticed before. And don't think too much about this last tip. Just give it a go now and as often as possible and see what happens. The first tip is really my favorite. What do I want to do right now in this moment? It's a bit like when learning to ride a bike, you know? You can read all the books you want about how to ride a bike, but the only thing that's really going to teach you how to ride a bike is to ride a goddamn bike. So in the same way, I think we constantly have to bring back our attention to this moment and where our energies, our motivation and our passion is guiding us. So learning by doing. I think there's always something in there that wants to come out, something that wants to be expressed. So by asking yourself as often as possible what wants to be expressed right now, I think slowly we'll get in tune with that and it'll be second nature. The question, what is my passion, really doesn't need to be asked anymore. The harder you try, the less you'll achieve. Because there's really no effort needed to be yourself. Being yourself and being passionate is when you're completely effortless. And that moment could be now.